governments continue to negotiate maritime boundary between Timor-Leste and Indonesia. Locals fear parking fees will deter visitors from Cristo Rei. Welcome back to RTTL World News. I'm Sony Madeira. Timor-Leste's Prime Minister Xanana Gusmão was in Singapore last week to hold talks with the Indonesian government on the maritime boundary between the neighboring countries. Both countries expressed commitment to abiding by international conventions in marking permanent boundaries in the seas to the north and east of Timor-Leste.
A third meeting between the two neighbors to discuss maritime boundary lines. This time, both countries recognize that negotiations are difficult, but they share the goodwill to continue discussions towards a mutually beneficial consensus.
On behalf of Timor-Leste, I express our sincere appreciation for the constructive approach that has defined this third round of maritime boundary negotiations.
Throughout our negotiations, we have been guided by a high spirit of friendship, openness, frankness, honesty, and good faith. These qualities have defined our discussions.
Throughout the three-day meeting, both parties explored solutions aligned with international law. Under international law, a boundary line is drawn exactly midway between two countries' coasts, with the countries to agree whether the equidistance line is appropriate and equitable for both countries, or whether it must be adjusted for any relevant circumstances or disproportionality.
After 3 days,
Timor-Leste's Prime Minister Xanana Gusmão commended the neighboring countries' willingness to negotiate their maritime boundary based on international law.
It's not easy, because we cannot just come and say we want to draw a line here, a line there, because they want to follow archipelagic lines, as stated in the international law of the sea. So we, with our lawyers, we also come with some considerations, and we negotiate because, according to the international law of the sea, we can also claim our rights, but it is very complicated.
Indonesia, however, has claimed archipelagic baselines as a starting point for negotiations, which are straight lines drawn between the archipelago's outermost points. The fourth round of Timor-Leste and Indonesia's maritime border negotiations are set to be in Bali in August. Finalizing borders with Indonesia will complete Timor-Leste's maritime sovereignty, marking a major milestone following the 2018 Australia Agreement. Paulina Quintão, RTTL World News.
The Dili Authority will introduce paid parking in the Cristo Rei area, a popular destination for family picnics and swimming. However, locals say the high price may deter visitors from visiting the well-known spot.
New signs for paid parking have been installed at Cristo Rei's parking area. Starting from next week, visitors will have to pay to park their vehicles in the area. $1 per hour for cars and 50 cents for scooters or motorbikes. Local visitors say it is too expensive.
The time for parking at $1 per hour is too much.
Regular visitor Renato da Costa is calling for the parking fees to be cut in half. He argues the current rates might discourage people from visiting the landmark.
I think it will be better if the government can reduce it to 50 cents for cars and 25 cents for motorbikes. We want a reasonable price to attract more visitors.
While local vendors fear the introduction of paid parking might drive customers away.
Right after the signs were put up, people put it on social media. No visitors came, only foreign nationals.
Others have asked the government to set the price at $1 a day.
If this is a kind of visitors' contribution, then the rate shouldn't be per hour. It can be per visit or per day, like $1 for cars and 50 cents for motorbikes.
$1 per hour is too much, because then we cannot park here for hours. If we park here for 5 hours, it will cost us $5.
Dili Municipal Authority says collecting tax for parking will help cover the government's investment in the development of the area.
The government made an investment with a large budget, and we ask all citizens to contribute to ensure the beauty of the place, to ensure routine maintenance of the place when it's damaged.
Mr. Santos says parking attendants will be collecting fees at Cristo Rey from next week.
Possibly, next week we will start collecting fees from visitors.
Meanwhile, the Dili Authority will also implement the same parking fees in inner city areas such as Kaikoli and Colmera. The government previously charged parking fees of 25 cents an hour for cars and 10 cents per hour for motorized vehicles in these areas. In the last 12 months, the Dili Authority has collected over $79,500 from the parking fees. Vicky Madeira, Nicodemus Espiritu Santo, RTTL World News.
As cardiovascular disease continues to place growing pressure on Timor-Leste's healthcare system, the Timor-Leste Hearts Fund is working to expand access to life-saving care across the country. CEO Jane Williams sat down with RTTL World News reporter Jerry Madeira to discuss the challenges on the ground and new efforts to strengthen the workforce and improve cardiac data collection.
Could you please tell us what challenges does Timor-Leste's cardiovascular healthcare system face?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that that Timor-Leste specifically focuses on or faces, I guess, in the future is just really high rates of cardiovascular disease. And that's really important because we want people to live healthy, good quality lives where they can undertake all their activities and work and enjoy their family lives. So it's so important to understand the causes for cardiovascular disease, why the rates are so high, what we can do in the community, but also, as importantly, what happens when people need treatment in hospitals. So looking at the hospital system is something we focus on specifically, Timor-Leste Hearts Fund. In terms of the workforce, so your cardiologists, your nursing staff, and how they can be trained and supported to provide a different level of cardiac care here in Timor.
How do Timor-Leste Hearts Fund programs, such as caring for healthy hearts, address these challenges?
Yeah, so I think we sort of have three streams that we focus on to try and support and increase heart care in Timor-Leste. One is strategic, so we work with the Ministry of Health. We're very fortunate to have a great relationship with them, and that focuses on things like drafting the National Heart Health Strategic Plan for Timor-Leste, so to help guide decision making and understand what is important and how we can talk to all levels of the system, the health system. So that's a really important conversation and role that we've picked up. In a very similar way, setting up the Cardiac Society of Timor-Leste, supporting that. Again, that allows Timor-Leste to link in internationally. Timor-Leste is now part of the World Heart Federation, so that's a big celebration that happened last year for the first time. Very, very important. Those networks provide not just resources, but knowledge and experience. So I think on a strategic level, that's the kind of work we focus on. Then we also focus on workforce support in Timor-Leste. So our doctors come and do clinics, work very closely with the doctors at the National Hospital in Dili particularly, see patients, but do education and training, both with the doctors and the nursing staff. So kind of three main areas.
How are these programs implemented in rural parts of the country?
Yeah, so it's obviously more challenging in the rural aspects of the country, both in terms of access, so being able to get out and provide that sort of face-to-face support. So where we can, certainly around the strategic things, so the Cardiac Society or drafting the strategic plan, we bring the cardiologists to Dili, and all the other stakeholders, so that we can have a good collaborative conversation. Just yesterday, actually, we spent the day in Bacau, so to get a better understanding of the hospital, the unique needs of cardiology in Bacau, which are different. Every district is different. So we had a really wonderful day understanding what is needed there and where potentially we can help there.
How does Timor-Leste Hearts Fund collaborate with local and international organizations?
So look, we're really fortunate. We have good relationships across a range of people that do great work here. We have a very close relationship with the National Hospital in Dili, particularly with the cardiology team and the nursing staff. So very, very important, because that's obviously the work we do. But we also have good relationships with some of the other not-for-profit organisations, the international ones, who also support cardiac care here. They tend to be more in the community, so like Malek Timor, Menzies, St John of God are a great partner. So where we can, we always want to make sure we're integrating our work, so we're not doing something separate to what the rest of the system is doing.
Can you tell us about your recent meeting with President José Ramos Horta?
Yes.
And what support government provides for your work?
So look, we've been so fortunate to meet with the President now on 3 occasions. He is a great supporter of health generally, but particularly the cardiovascular work. He's well aware of the importance of heart health here in Timor-Leste. So we're really fortunate to meet with him, share with him our activities, what we've been doing, update him, but talk to him specifically around a project we're doing at the moment around cardiac data. So one of the things that's really important, both at the ministry for the government but also for the hospital, is to understand how many patients have what sort of illnesses in a cardiac way, how they're being treated, so that you can determine what sort of care is needed across the whole country, not just in little bits. So we're working currently really closely with the Ministry of Health and with the cardiologists to try and set up a centralised cardiac data system that would capture all the cardiac information for patients in hospitals to have better outcomes. Also helps provide some research, which is really important for Timor-Leste, because your context is unique, right? So you want research based on your own country. So that was what we shared with the President yesterday, and he was incredibly supportive. Again, we're really fortunate. We have very strong relationships with the Ministry of Health. We've met with them over the last 2 weeks that we've been doing this project here, and they are incredibly supportive. So everyone's great. We're very fortunate, yeah.
Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
In international news, a new exhibition in Darwin is taking a look at the history of modern street art and graffiti across the Northern Territory. MART opened earlier this week at the Northern Centre for Contemporary Art and coincides with the 10th anniversary of the Darwin Street Art Festival, which opens in a few weeks.
More than half a century of history, documenting hundreds of modern artworks from remote community schools to Darwin's most prominent buildings. Marked is a new exhibition at the Northern Centre for Contemporary Art, tracing modern murals, public art projects and graffiti culture across the Northern Territory since 1971.
We wanted to capture some of the stuff that's happened at bush, some of the old school murals, and tell the stories of how those murals went off to create full industries.
From Vincent Lingiari, immortalised in Catherine, to collages of brightly coloured animals in Kintor, one of Australia's most remote communities.
It's just amazing to see it all in one place, and yeah, it's really inspiring.
Some of the things that we found when we went into the archives and when we did a community call out was that murals have existed, modern murals have existed in different settings, like on schools, in recreation halls and that type of thing in communities.
Carefully assembled over the past 6 months, more than 300 images of street art are on display, including the Territory's first recorded modern mural created in 1971 in the remote community of Papunya. New artwork also on display by sisters who are no stranger to Darwin's art scene.
There's such an important legacy of street art from the movement in Papunya in the 70s to contemporary work today. It is such an important form of expression, and it's so different to any other type of art.
It's so beautiful that it fills the landscape with bold colour and lines and stories.
And the exhibition showcases more than just history.
We've changed the city and how people use it and how people move in it, where businesses want to set up. They used to be wanting to be up on the road, now they want to be around the art.
The exhibition runs until June.
Rubbish has been piling up on the streets of Bali as the Indonesian island prepares for the full closure of a landfill site in Denpasar. The provincial government has introduced a new waste management system to encourage people to sort their trash and rid the streets of the bad smell.
Bali is known for its natural beauty and tropical beaches, but there is a stench that is drowning out its wonder.
Very big problem because we have such a nice island and the trash everywhere. It's so, you must respect the nature, and that's a problem, I think.
Bali is producing more waste and running out of places to put it. The situation has worsened after the partial closure of its largest landfill site, which had been in operation for 40 years. The tip, which has exceeded its 32-hectare capacity, is set to be permanently closed by the end of July. In the wake of its closure, the provincial government has put in place stricter sorting measures and set up temporary collection sites.
This sorting makes people more disciplined because if the waste is mixed, of course the officers at the landfill will face difficulties processing it.
Others see this as an opportunity to help farmers who have been struggling with fertiliser shortages caused by blockades in the Strait of Hormuz.
The culture of cleanliness for this waste sorting in Bali must really be implemented related to organic, residual and inorganic. Organic is very helpful related to making fertiliser and compost. Maybe the government and the community can work together to provide fertiliser for farmers whose prices are soaring.
But there have been mixed reactions to the household sorting. There are reports some residents have resorted to burning or throwing their rubbish in the river after it wasn't collected on time. For now, authorities are urging locals to take their sorted trash to the waste processing sites. In the long term, they're planning to build several waste-to-energy projects, set to begin as early as June.
And now the weather, starting with Dili. Partly cloudy with a top temperature of 32 degrees and a low of 23 degrees. In Baucau, considerable morning cloud, clearing in the afternoon. Temperatures ranging between 29 and 20 degrees. Sun and areas of high clouds in the morning in Lautem, then mostly cloudy in the afternoon. A high of 29 and a low of 23 degrees. In Bobonaro, cloudy with a brief shower or two in the afternoon. A top temperature of 27 and a low of 16. And in Aileu, considerable cloud in the morning, clearing in the afternoon. Temperatures ranging between 26 and 15. And now looking abroad. Mostly sunny and breezy in Kupang, a high of 32 and a low of 24. Clear and sunny in Bali, temperatures ranging between 31 and 27. In Jakarta, partly cloudy with a couple of showers in the afternoon, a top of 34 and a low of 24. Beautiful with plenty of sunshine in Seoul, a high of 23 and a low of 6 degrees. In Darwin, breezy in the morning, otherwise partly cloudy with temperatures ranging between 33 and 22 degrees. In Sydney, windy with plenty of sun, a high of 20 and a low of 11 degrees. A couple of morning showers in Lisbon, otherwise mostly cloudy and breezy, with temperatures ranging between 19 and 13. Partly cloudy in London, a top temperature of 19 and a low of 10. And in Belfast, partly cloudy with a couple of afternoon showers, a height of 14 and a low of 6. That's all for now. Thanks for joining us again on the program. RTTL World News will be back with more stories on Sunday. Bye for now.